Welcome back everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make some easy Chinese style pork belly. All right, now we're going to be using our drum smoker today. If you've got another style of smoker, or if you wanted to follow along to this recipe in your oven, you can absolutely do that. We'll get this set up first. So we'll start by taking our cooking grate and our heat deflector out. Then you want to fill your charcoal basket up with some lumped charcoal or briquettes. And I'm just going to bury a firelighter in there and light it up. And now we've got about 10 minutes before those briquettes will be ready, so we'll use that time to prepare our pork belly. All right, so I've got a lovely, thick little piece of pork belly. This one's about 1 kilo in weight. I'm just going to start by removing any excess fat off the bottom and any silver skin that's there as well. All right, and next we're just going to take the skin off. So I've just got myself a nice, long, sharp knife, and we're just going to run that along the pork belly, skin side down. All right, and then I'm just going to cut that into, I reckon, 3 strips. All right, and those strips are about 1.5 inches thick, and I'm going to save a little piece of skin as well. We'll make a crackling crumb out of that later on to finish off this pork belly with. And now it's time to season our pork. We're going to be using a combination of our steak shooter and honey soy slammer. We're going to lay down some of our honey soy slammer first and top it off with our steak shooter. Now it's going to be the sauce that we're using later on, which is going to give it that Chinese sort of style. All right, now our pork is all trimmed and seasoned. Let's check on these briquettes. All right, so our firelighter's done its job. It's burnt out. Those briquettes have caught light nicely. So now we can shut our lid and we'll open up our top and intake vent. Now we'll give our drum 5 to 10 minutes to preheat to just below our target temperature, which for this cook is going to be around the 250 Fahrenheit or 120 Celsius range. All right, so we are pretty much at temperature. So we'll open our lid. We'll get a beautiful little chunk of cherry from natural smoke on there. Get our heat deflector back in, then our cooking grate, and then our beautiful pork belly strips. Then we'll shut our lid and let these start to cook away. All right, so for the first hour of this cook, we don't really need to do much else apart from maintaining a nice, clean burning, steady fire. In the drum, it's really easy. If I overshoot my temperature, I'm just gonna shut that intake vent down a little bit. If I'm under my temperature, I'm going to open it up a little bit. If you're using another style of barbecue like an offset smoker or a Weber kettle, I'll put a couple of fire management videos down in the description for you to check out. But for now, we'll let this pork belly smoke away and we'll come back now once we're about an hour into this cook. All right, so our pork belly's been going for around an hour now. It's looking nice, got a bit of moisture on top. So what I'm going to do is just flip them over. We'll give this side a spritz in some apple cider vinegar. And then I'm just going to get our piece of pork skin on, skin side down, just to start drying it out. And we'll shut our lid, and I reckon we'll come back in about 45 minutes or so, because these will be ready to wrap up, and we can start making our sauce. All right, so before we wrap this pork up, we're going to make a sauce for it. It's a Char Siu style sauce, and we're going to start with a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of Hoisin sauce, a 1/4 cup of Chinese rice wine, a teaspoon of sesame oil, a tablespoon of honey, a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, a teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 3 cloves of fresh minced garlic, and a few drops of red food colouring. Then we'll give that a mix. And we'll get that into the smoker to heat through so those sugars and spices can dissolve. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes. We'll give our sauce a stir. All those sugars and spices should be nice and dissolved now. Now I'm just going to drain some of that sauce into a bowl. I just want enough that we can baste a little bit of that back over later on in the cook. So I'm just going to put that aside in the fridge to cool down. And that pork has got some beautiful colour to it now. That's ready to go into this tray. Now I'm just going to spoon some of that sauce over. Then I'll add a few chunks of butter on top. We'll cover that tray in foil. Then we'll shut our lid and let them keep cooking away. All right, so now our pork's wrapped up and back in the smoker. We're just going to take it until it's nice and tender. I'll be looking for an internal temperature of around 205 Fahrenheit or 96 degrees Celsius. And I assume it's going to take us another hour or so to get there. Now, normally with Char Siu pork, you'd use pork neck, also known as pork scotch fillet. And there's lots of different recipes, but normally you'd use something like the sauce we've made. Marinate your meat for anywhere between 8 to 24 hours and you'd cook it after it's had a good amount of time marinating. So this really isn't the traditional way of doing it, but like I said earlier in the video, it's a quick and easy way to do it. Trust me, it's still going to be unbelievably tasty. So for now, we'll continue to let our pork belly cook away and we'll come back once we're a bit further into this cook. All right, so it's been just shy of an hour since we wrapped this pork. We'll actually check this crackling first. Surprisingly, that's crackled up beautifully. All I was going to do if it hadn't crackled up was chuck it in the air fryer, so that saves us a bit of time. So we'll put that aside. We'll unwrap this foil. Oh, and I can already feel these are very, very tender. That's probing right around that 205 Fahrenheit or 96 degrees Celsius internal. So we'll take that foil off. We'll lay that pork back out on the cooking grate. You can take that tray out, and now we're just going to baste them in that sauce we put back in the fridge earlier on. Then I'll turn them over. Baste the other side. All right, now we'll close our lid and we'll give that sauce 10 minutes to set, and I reckon we'll give it another coat. All right, now our crackling's had a moment to cool down. We're just going to blitz it up and make a crumb out of it. And then we'll put it in a little bowl to use up shortly. All right, it's time to give these another sauce. That is smelling absolutely delicious. And by all means, if you wanted to finish these off on open flame, just to get a little bit of char on them, then absolutely go for it. All right, now we'll give that sauce 5 minutes to set, and we can come back to finish them off. All right, now it's time to finish these off. Now garnish them and serve them however you want to. I'm just going to sprinkle over some of that crackling crumb. And then it needs some green on there, so I'm just going to sprinkle over some finely chopped chives. And now we can get these out to have a taste. Seriously, how good does that look? That is so good. Tender, juicy, full of flavour. Well, there you have it, how to make quick and easy Chinese style pork belly. I reckon that was just around a 3-hour cook, and that was honestly one of the tastiest bits of pork I've ever had. So if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Shout out to all my YouTube members. I hope you enjoyed the early access to this video and all the other perks you get. But for now, that's the end of the video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.